All right, if you just joined us, it's still Enterprise Morning on Enterprise TV, and now to our main conversation for today. The police in Abuja on Monday raided a relaxation spot for bandits in Gidandambi Day, where it arrested a total of 311 suspects, 297 males and 14 females. Some guns and ammunition, a sword, knives, axes, daggers, motorcycles, and several mobile phones were recovered during the operation. The FCT Commissioner of Police, Bennett Igwe, disclosed this on Monday during a parade of the suspects at the Intelligence Response Team Unit, Gusape, Abuja. He noted that police operatives at about 11:30 p.m. on Sunday acted on credible intelligence that bandits, kidnappers, and armed robbers usually returned to the so-called game house to entertain themselves, and that they all 311 persons were arrested within 20 minutes of arriving the area. Still with me in the studios to talk about this and more is the barrister Gideon Logo. Thank you so very much for still being with us today.
You're welcome.
We appreciate your time. Now, with your experience, both as a lawyer and also a security expert, what do you make of the fact that we are beginning to have moves in the security architecture in Nigeria?
Thank you very much. Let me start by commending the police for effectively arresting 311 suspects. I know what it entails to even arrest an individual. And again, I think we are waking up to the realities of insecurity, particularly around the Federal Capital Territory. And again, let me also commend the networking that activated the intelligence report that led to that arrest. And then we expect that those arrested will be profiled, investigated, and taken through the ecosystem of criminal justice. Because if you can, as the report presented, there are exhibits already. Yes. And there will be witnesses already. So you have what you need to prosecute, because in an effective criminal justice ecosystem, you need thorough investigation, you need diligent prosecution, and a committed judiciary. And if that is done, the right message will be sent to those who may be thinking of continuing in crime, that, hey, it may not be business as usual anymore, that this society may no longer be permissive to our operations. And I think that is very valid, because you talk about the triangle of crime. You talk about the desire, you talk about the target, and you talk about the opportunity.
Okay.
You see, and the opportunity is where, if you block the opportunity, then you frustrate the first two angles to the triangle. And these are also part of intelligence tactics in security management. And then where they were arrested is where, when you do crime mapping, it's referred to as black spots. And there are many of such black spots around the country. So, and I think right now in the Federal Capital Territory, the government has risen up to her responsibility, and I hope that is sustained. Recently, a kidnapper was taken out, let me use that expression, and some others were had, and again up north, somebody that came to collect ransom, a woman for that matter, and who has married top-line criminals, has been arrested. So if you take them through the mill of justice, you send a signal. But I believe also we discuss the global aspect of crime as we proceed in this discussion. So I'm quite impressed by what the police achieved there. But like I said, I hope that they will go all the whole in ensuring that there are consequences for
for crime.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. All right.
That is when you would have effectively harvested the effort of going to arrest them.
Now, talking about effective harvesting of the efforts, let's dig deep more about the involvement of some bad eggs as part of this cartel. Of course, just like we read there, someone was is seen as part of a security architecture, someone who is supposed to be the one taking charge and arresting some of these people is himself involved in it. So how do you think our security architecture can do better when part of its people, what I call subsets, are equally involved in the crime or initiating the crime in the first place?
You know, in this particular case, the person claimed to be a DSS officer. That has not been confirmed. So
okay.
Investigation should reveal that. But then, it's not strange. You recall Wadume, the kidnapped suspect.
Yeah.
He was arrested by policemen, and in the process of taking him to destination, some soldiers ambushed them, attacked them, killed some of the police officers who identified themselves, and took the suspect away to their barrack and released him from the handcuffs. So we have read reports of some soldiers ferrying ammunition to terrorists. We have read, and some have been sanctioned, particularly within the police system. Many have been sanctioned for nefarious practices.
Activities.
And that is what you call the internal cleansing mechanism. But how, to what extent it's being carried out, and the wide coverage of that net is what I cannot talk about. But obviously, there are bad eggs in the system, just like in almost all the departments of the national life. But if we get serious that we want to cleanse the system, then we'll start bringing in consequences. I mentioned Section 15 subsection 5 of the Nigerian Constitution 1999 as amended, and it says the state shall abolish corrupt practices and abuse of power. So when you have those that have been engaged to provide security and they aid in security, obviously they should pay for it. But then, to what extent do we implement our laws?
Exactly. Looking at global best practices, of course, when we take a look at what is obtainable here and what we see in other parts of the world, I want to believe, if there is a term like this has time to be corrected, do you think there should be some sort of forensic arresting or forensic investigation to some of these cases? Just like in Nigeria, when the security architecture discovers a black spot, they don't care about who is there. Someone might just be there, going to have fun. And in Nigeria, we have this very notorious way of arresting people. Just come and comb the whole place and get everybody involved. And at the end of the day, they are not even sure who is the main person involved. So let's talk about forensic involvement in arresting those who are right to be involved in this case, especially as it concerns the 311 persons that were arrested.
The forensic aspect touches on investigation. When it comes to arrest, and sometimes you may have to do a global arrest, then that's why I mentioned profiling. When you arrest, then you start profiling. For instance, if policemen go out and arrest people for wandering at the bus stop, it is expected when you take them to destination, you allow each person, okay, this is my ID card, I work for an oil company, I work late, that is why I found myself at the bus stop. You allow that person.
But sorry, is this obtainable in America, for example?
Yes, that's what you call sting action. When it comes to it depends on to what level you have developed your security. There is a country where the highest weapon the police use is the baton. They don't use guns. In fact, in Norway or Sweden, they even import inmates from another country to keep their correctional homes running, because the level of crime is so low. So these are issues. So, and in a place like Nigeria, I can let you know that the crime net is widening because of the poverty in the land, the economic situation, the peer pressure, the drug invasion. You know, we have drug crisis in this country now. And part of the exhibits that the police recovered from Day where they went to carry out the arrest are substances. So when you have this kind of a society, it's a tough one. Even in some parts of Lagos, you get to some locations and you'll be amazed, you know. And again, what capacity has the police to even cope? That's another question. Look at the bandits. When Sheikh Gumi went to take photographs with them, you saw the kind of ammunition those guys were parading. I mean, bandits that could bring down a fighter jet from the sky in a country, you know, they are not out to joke. So these are issues, but these efforts must be on. So I wish the Minister of Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, the best. I mean, the surge in kidnapping and crime, one chance crime in the Federal Capital Territory has made them to wake up. And by extension, I spoke about opportunity. There is also the accommodation. There are incubation points for crime strategic planning. One of such is this this game place where they go. They actually do not go there to relax, but to plan the next action. So when you bust them, for instance, I expect, subject to investigation and due process, that such a building be taken out and the owner also be prosecuted. You see, Wike did similar thing in Rivers State when he was governor of Rivers State. You see, so that if you don't confront crime headlong and dislodge the operational base, you are just joking. Because crime is a serious business. Those who are into it invest into it. And particularly in our country where people even argue now that there are some Judases in the National Assembly who are committing crime, that they should unveil them and things like that. So crime is not, but when you go to the banditry and kidnapping, you know, there are top profile supporters that they have. In fact, Nigeria claimed under the last tenure with the leadership of the former president Muhammadu Buhari that about 400 sponsors of Boko Haram.
So the question is, how do you think this can be arrested to the latter when, because what I think the police force is doing right now is arresting flies when there are big heads and there are big people who are supposed to be taken down in all of. So how do you think this parade, you know, all of this would come to a total end when those who are sponsoring them are still doing well and might still sponsor some all other people?
You see, I know the Nigerian police, I know the intelligence capacity, but we still have a system that is not effective for policing Nigeria. We have the centralized system, and that is why state policing is on the advocacy list. You see, the Inspector General of Police is in charge, even though we have 36 states. No governor can give order to the Commissioner of Police. The Commissioner of Police answers to the Inspector General of Police. So
that is if we have state policing.
Yeah, if we have state policing, then you decentralize.
Oh, okay.
And states begin to set up their own apparatus, even though right now with the Amotekun and the IPOB and all those, and you know, the ESN, the people are beginning to have pseudo structures of even though they are not mandated by law to carry arms. There are some classes of ammunition that only the president can license. But you also find that some criminals have access to this ammunition. So we have a porous system when it comes to managing the security in the land. And so when you have that, then states can now decide to say, we are not going to cover up any big time criminal. I mean, look at the monarchs killed between Ekiti State and Kwara. Reportedly, a big shot was arrested in Ondo State, you know, an industrialist of about over 80 years, as sponsoring those kidnappers. And that is the power of investigation. You see, so if Nigeria chooses to be like Dubai, Dubai is relatively peaceful because they have zero tolerance to disruption. Because it's an economic hub. They are in autopilot of prosperity for now, and I pray that that is sustained.
But what
when they got intelligence report that there were 6 sponsors of Boko Haram hibernating in Dubai, they were arrested, prosecuted, and all jailed. 2 to life imprisonment, 4 to 10 years imprisonment. You recall the case of Hush Puppy?
Yeah, true.
I mean, who was hibernating in Dubai, perpetrating
all sorts of
cyber crime.
crime.
He was arrested, ferried back to the US. He's cooling down in the US now. So you recall the case of Ekuremadu with the UK. You recall the case of the position of Indonesia to drop. Also Saudi Arabia. So these are issues. So how serious are we? And you mentioned a very vital point. Sometimes when the system that should secure has been infiltrated, and the infiltration is aided by the poverty in the land. Then you have a police officer whose salary is about 30,000 naira, and he has about 4 children. To cater for. That salary before he gets it. Sometimes it may be 3 months of frowning and things like that. So when criminals come to entice them, it may be difficult. We saw a video of a police officer who was boasting that this is his own market, that his guy is even waiting to collect it. So these are issues, and that is the global reference of security management. You see, that's the global reference.
All right, so let's finally look at image building. Statistics show that the United States of America has the highest rate of murder, and because of course the accessibility to firearms and all, so people literally kill themselves, and the rate of murder is high. But they've found a way to manage that image such that United States still looks sumptuous to everybody around the world, even where in nations where there are no crimes, like Norway. You said a typical person from Norway wants to visit America in spite of all of that. So how do you think we can manage our image despite all of these issues that we have?
You see, every nation has elements of crime, but the ratio is what differs. So America is not exonerated from crime, but basically, in fact, crime started in the Garden of Eden. So humanity is corrupted with that DNA. But speaking about how the United States of America has been able to achieve that image management, I will answer that question. I told you that if you look at Section 14, subsection 2 of the Nigerian Constitution 1999 as amended, it says that the security and the welfare of the citizens shall be the primary purpose of government. You see, so, and the welfare is critical. Welfare is of prime importance in the US. It's amazing that there are 50 states with 24/7 electricity, except there is a major disruption. There is provision for education. The employment rate is fantastic. If you look at the minimum wage in the US, you'll be amazed when you throw it into the exchange rate in Nigeria. Per hour. We want to go and work there.
True.
You see, so when you look at the facilities available, healthcare, relatively, you want to gravitate to that environment. I mean, I've had a taste of it. I was on vacation with my wife, and we needed to go to Canada, and I appealed to her, hey, let's go by road. 13 hours of great joy. You need to see beautiful environment, you need to see infrastructure, you need to see great things, you need to see lovely communities. Though they have their down locations and things like that, but generally speaking, life is meaningful because the welfare is provided. During COVID-19, America invested so much in their people, supporting them, giving them grants. During the Hurricane Katrina, in Texas. They gave out tickets. Some people got like half of cow just because they couldn't go out. So you put it in your freezer, you can feed and things like that. So these are issues. But then you still have those, because of the gun system that they have there, that just out of this too much enjoyment, just blow themselves up. And don't also forget that the issue of race is still there, which is still strong. So, and it's like every other society. But talking about the image, America has succeeded in building a high-profile economic effectiveness. If you look at the dollars, it's only the currency of China, the currency of Russia, and some other countries that are competing with the US dollar. The US dollars is like the grandfather of global currency. So when you look at that, then you will be able to understand the image aspect. I mean, some will think Dubai is a nation. No, Dubai is just like a state in the UAE. But because they have built intentionally, built an attractive environment, you think it's paradise.
Yes,
there are communities.
Yes, exactly. Now, if I might, connect what you're saying, especially if we come back home, in those climes, you see inter-agency collaborations where you see the CIA is working in tandem with all other agencies, and they work in simpatico to ensure that things are done. Now, let's come back home to Nigeria. You could remember some couple of months back when Emefiele was brought to court, and there was this conflict between the DSS and the prisons and all the police and all of that. Now, in this particular case, we did mention the police were abrupt to mention that the DSS supposedly was found amongst the 311 persons.
Claimed.
Yes, claimed to be.
And it's subject to investigation. And if he's truly a DSS officer, he should be brought to. I mean, that's what you see. Where there are no consequences, you cannot fight crime.
But do you think it is okay for the Nigerian police force to just come up abruptly and say this person is a DSS, and it makes it known, especially with concerns to image building and inter-agency collaboration?
The report says claims. Let me tell you, some of these kidnappers, in their high level of illiteracy, they dress in military camouflage. That's why some travelers fall victims. They are not in the military, but they have access to military camouflage. They have been trained, I don't know who trained them, to handle sophisticated weapons. So we have crisis in our land. So investigation should reveal. What I expect is that if truly that person who claimed to be a DSS officer is a DSS officer, if you cover it up, you are just pumping petrol into the fire of insecurity in the nation. Bring them out, let's know them. The same way you go after their sponsors, whoever they may be. Bring them to justice, because if you don't attack the base of crime and you are just dealing with the symptoms, you are wasting resources and you won't achieve any results. You see, so, and that is what you call substantive approach to fighting crime. So those are issues.
All right.
And like I said earlier, we run a system where there is a superior order from above. Recall when the same DSS went to block the entrance of the National Assembly, and they say order from above. So the order from above, is it towards security or towards insecurity? Is it for selfish purpose or for national interest? So these are issues. So the moment office powers are engaged for the enhancement of national fortunes, then we begin to reap the rewards of good governance.
Exactly. Just like it's often said, peace is one valuable element that no nation takes for granted. And for we to achieve peace, it's very important that the security architecture and those that work for security must be people that we should hold in high esteem. I'd love to say thank you to Barrister Jido for being part of our show today. It was really an engaging discourse we had today. Thank you so very much.
Thank you very much, and God bless Nigeria.
Yeah, thank you so very much. Now, for you watching, we'd love to say we are happy that you made a part of our show today. But please do well to visit our website at www.enterprisetvnews.com. Like, comment, and follow on all our social media platforms at Enterprise TV 7. I am Henry EPBK. I'll see you tomorrow for yet another awesome time. Thank you for watching.
Enterprise TV, a tradition of truth.